Rainy Monday. Spring just won't quit. Masons were out here on the weekend. These guys got started on the veranda. I knew this was going to happen, but they didn't get the window layouts perfect. It's all right. So I'm going to lay things out for these guys so that way they get it all set up properly. They missed a measurement. But they did call me on Saturday. Said don't get too far ahead. And some more gravel in. So we're going to start prepping for our slabs. Got our chalk lines over there. We've got 2 inches of rigid foam and 4-inch slab. We just had to add a little bit more stone in because we had that underground ductwork here. This is a rainy day. Since it's a rainy day, we're starting to get some more framing done, but guys are working inside.
Let's go back.
Got some radius corners. So in roughly 2 weeks, we have more windows showing up, which some we've already got on site, as you see. So our framers are not actually installing these units. We have another company that provide it from Arcadia, Sage. And we have a bunch of prep we have to do. So what I'm doing, I'm marking all the unit numbers, marking the rough opening head height of what we have in our architecturals because we have several different head heights. And then I'm also marking my window rough opening height. So the reason is because some of these units, they still require window bucks, like that one over there. Still these window bucks. I just was noticing a little bit of variation. I'm oversizing all the rough openings 1 3/4. So what that allows, it allows a seal dry pan for the 1-inch pack up. Gives me a 1/2 inch clearance on the top and a 1/4 inch on the bottom, because I don't want to shim much off the bottom. So before all these seal dry pans go on, we have to make sure we get our bottom seals exactly where I want them, get everything all flashed properly, all of our WRB wrapped into the rough openings, and then we can get our seal dry pans in. So we got some prep work we got to do before the units get here. Framers are still trending behind, but we're working the entire house from basically left to right. So exterior guys know this, or the window company knows this, that they're still working on framing with rafter tails and stuff like that. But they should be working roughly behind them because it's going to take them a good, they were saying about 4, 5, maybe even 6 weeks to get all of our units in. So can't push them in the schedule anymore though, because everybody's schedule is pretty booked out all the way out to the fall. This too, I'm going to have the guys shoot around a laser. So as they get everything set, I always want everybody to laser from the head heights, always from the head. So that way our trim will be the same head height all the way around. As you see, this is a taller window, so it doesn't matter about the sill exactly, but all the heads I want to line up. And that'll be the same thing with most of the interior casing. Mainly on the first floor, we've got a lot of the similar door heights where we've got 8 foot tall. So all of our exterior doors downstairs will be 8 foot. I will custom size all of our interior. Already did custom size for our wood exterior doors, so that way that head height will match around. Now it's a little trickier than just trying to match it. I always do my inside of casing head height. I figure out what that is. Now every unit's gonna be a little different, because like these, they're gonna require extension jam, which adds that extra little bit of a 1/4 inch. So you gotta kind of pre-think of all that stuff as you go along. In certain areas, you don't need the extension jam. So that's why I always basically figure out my exterior door heights first, where they've gotta be, figure out where my interior inside of casing height is gonna be, and I use that as my 0-0 height throughout the house. And that way when I'm customizing all these door sizes and everything, I'm making sure I match up to what I need, and I make it like a little cheat sheet. Here's another example of why I'm doing this. So I mark the unit, it's still gonna mark my rough opening head height. I'll mark out the overall height of the unit, but as you can see right here, this is where the bottom of that sill needs to end up being. This still gets window bucks, but even then it's still gonna need a little additional. So far, all their head heights have been pretty much spot on, but some of the sills vary a little bit. Say, why? Why do this? Well, as we go through all of our window units, you'll see we've got a number. Then they gotta relate to the drawings. This is gonna make things a lot easier especially when a unit is a right-handed and left-handed, an individual casement. So by having the unit number there, the roof opening, the bottom sill height, it pretty much makes it dummy proof. Another day chip and stone. These guys are going to be here for a while doing that. Eventually we'll have a couple crews of masons, but right now we're just keeping it light. Got one of the best excavators out here right now, Eddie. He's old school, he's good. So right now he's trenching the sewer line that's basically going to go from our pool house back to our septic system. We've got our other waste line at that green stake. It's about 15 feet down from there though. And we've got our drainage field. It's right here. So we're going to get all the pipe runs over here to our solid tank, then our pump tank, and then our trenches in. Got to kind of work our way up the hill on this one. So get that bottom trench in. The next one, the next one, the next one. Just got all of our window openings laid out. Marked it all out for them. Basically, we had to lay out this window first, then that one over there, and then these were symmetrically laid out.
Very warm, next day fucking cold.
Got a screen. Get some flares on. Roofers will be back next week. Gotta get some of these little tiny areas done in the corners. Nice thing is my plumber's already getting our roof vents through. He's been reviewing all the locations with me first because I'm gonna keep all of our pipe vents in the backside at least as accessible as possible, or visibly. So you'll see up here, we were able to tie a bunch of our pipe vents together, run them down, to try and keep as minimal as possible. Like this one here, got a bathroom all the way in the front, plus the laundry. So that one ties across. Just remember, all your vents had to be pitched as well, because you don't want to create a trap point. When rainwater or condensation comes in, it's got to pitch all the way down. So Mike got our bottom stone set, and we're using the HB Textro Flash. Biggest thing with these garage jams too, making sure it turns up on the leg. He's getting a Corex right now. Put next to the jam to give our space for our caulking. So like for example right here, we're just starting to get some basement framing in. Got another framing crew on site. Just wrapped up another project pretty much. So we're getting some materials down here. Got some tricky framing details. So we've got a really cool arch timber that goes under here. We had to make sure our arch timber went far enough in because our soffit overhang here, it's not super deep, but we've got our crown, our fascia, a little bit of return, and then our bed molding underneath. So I made sure that the timber ran behind our bed molding, but in reality, we need this timber, or this rafter. So we're actually probably gonna have to rip this down a little bit, so that way that's tucked up underneath the back of there. And then the timber is like 8 inches thick, so that's gonna tuck into this bay here. Might seem confusing. I'll show you a little bit on the drawings, but you'll see it all come together eventually. On the gable you can see, we wanted to make sure this timber tucked behind that bed molding, our rafter, like I said, comes down even deeper to about here. So that last one, we got to do a little bit of rabbited edge. We still got to do the roof flares, so it's actually even a little bit longer because of this little flare section. And like I mentioned, we're going to bump this out a scooch, so that way this face of this will end up being face of the siding material to avoid that little 2-inch or 1.5-inch odd little void there. Detail. Exterior insulation. Normally the framers do this, but Tim's helping out. And they'll get their T-shaped weeps in. And Mike can continue stone. He's getting his drainage plane material on, which is a key and rain screen. He's got his weeps. That's right. So we're doing the T-shape. So we've got a flat section on the bottom for allow the water to weep. The vertical there can allow water too, but it's also for air breathing. And then we've been running our weeps on the very top. You almost forgot it. So now you can see this veranda taking shape. So here's the veranda window wells. It's just an opening in the stone. We're gonna have cast stone on the head, a window grate. Here's the cast stone shop drawing. This is the radius section. So these lentils, they actually formed first with block. They cut out the core. We're putting all bar in there. They're gonna pour it, so it's a structured lentil. So there will be radius. All right, just had fun laying out stuff for the veranda. Window wells are easy. We've got our top of block. And what I'm doing for these guys, this section wall here needs to be 12'10". Our lentil needs to be 10'3.5" off of our slab. We just laid out our pier points. So we got a pier here, another pier point right there, another pier point there, another block section there. Ignore my scribble, but our top of block over here, 8'3.5", and their top of pier is 7'5 3/4". So the reason for the difference, and originally I actually had the top of this wall at 8'5", because that's what we had from our drawings, but if you look closely, so this is our timber frame section. Timber frame, they actually had a double top plate, and I kind of have to stick with that just because we've got our timber, bent laminated timber, that go in those outer sections of those piers. And then I'm even going to add some pressure treated to the underside of this, so that way we don't have our Douglas fir bearing directly down. Now this timber frame section will actually not be exposed. It gets a beam wrap is what we call it, out of the same Doug fir material. And that's just because our block is 1'8" wide. But here you can see that bent laminated timber section that's going to raise all the way around this corner. See, as you can see, we're getting close to the top. This is one of several trenches in our drain field. Septics, they're pretty easy. This one they added 24 inches of extra material at the bottom of our trenches. But basically, you'll end up seeing, this is our bedding. It has to be undisturbed as much as possible. They'll get that bedding in, and then they're gonna have a PVC pipe. It's all determined by the original septic engineer. So that PVC pipe will run back. They'll have holes that they gotta drill in it at a certain spacing and a certain diameter. They'll be spec'd on their drawings. Everything will be back pitched this way actually. Because what it is when the pump tank that sits kind of basically where I am, when the pump tank pumps, it'll pump up all these field locations. And if it doesn't absorb right away, it'll back drain into the pump tank automatically. So you'll have your solid tank up the hill, that'll gravity feed down to our pump tank, and then when the pump tank signals, then it'll pump up into our drain field. A nice and busy day. So masons are working, concrete slab prep. We just had our inspection. They're just getting their aprons built. We're pouring the rest of this. They're getting the lentil in right now, but they're getting all these blocks all core filled. Framers are moving along throughout the house as well. Getting some framing up. It's got a decent amount of interior framing. And we're using a CDX on the top, 3/4 CDX for fire stop. Our walls are 4.5 inches off of the concrete face. As mentioned to our architect yesterday, that average is usually 5.5. Stuck with the plan. But It is nice to have a little extra 2 inches behind, mainly because of like pipes and stuff like that. So we just had to think about pipe locations. Get some more flares on. Roofer was out here earlier, so they're gonna be back next week. These guys are moving on block. We marked out our window locations, or opening locations. I missed some of the steps here, but originally you saw we had 24 inches of what they call a sand material. It's almost a septic, DEP approved for the bottom, so we needed 24 inches of that. And then they've got their 2B in there. It's clean stone, 3/4 inch clean stone. And then they have their pipe. So I didn't get the video of it either, but they did, before they install that, they ended up drilling all the little holes. And then they got their filter fabric on top. And that prevents anything getting in there later. Grade gets built up a little bit over this. With each trench, we got to make sure our health inspector's out. So after it's excavated, they have to just visually check over stuff. Obviously, there's already been perk tests on site, but they got to make sure we have suitable soils.